I'm Paul Moyer from the Timnath Presbyterian Church. Both my wife and I originated in Pennsylvania, got here by way of Alaska and Wyoming.
When we arrived, the church was fairly bare as far as any symbols or anything. The windows were completely gold.
Yellow-orange. Gave it a horrible hue to the whole sanctuary.
We thought probably it needed something.
One of the first things I do when I come to a new church is explore. Among the buildings, a chicken coop outside the garage here, I found a two-pane sash that was still intact, as though it had been in the windows here at one time. It was a blue fern pattern, and I said to the station, we've got to work that back into the church. We built those two windows at the back of the church, and it worked out very well. We couldn't get stopped. We kept on going. The next ones were the two in the north side, the Old Testament and the New Testament.
In the Old Testament window, highlights from the Old Testament are in that window, with the dove and olive branch brought back after the flood. The ark was lots of fun. And of course the rainbow, making sure that we had the correct colors and going the correct way in the rainbow. And then of course the Ten Commandments. And then the serpent in the tree, trying to get that serpent. That was lots of fun, and trying to get the eye in the correct place. And then the New Testament window, the hand representing the hand of God, the descending dove, and the lamb. Jesus was referred to as the Lamb of God. Then in the bottom sash, we have the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Those would be the highlights from the New Testament window.
The log cabin represents the pioneers that settled in this area. And the pine tree in the picture represents the pine trees of this area and the ones that have always been in the front yard of the church. The Bible and the candle represent the pioneers who used a candle to read the Bible.
And then the main one over here was the memorial window to the Rudolph family that was killed in an airplane accident. One of the highlights of that memory was pulling away from the service here, where the minister usually rides with the undertaker in the lead car. And I remember looking back as we went up the road north and seeing the crowd of cars that were following us, and the families represented in each of those cars was something else.
The roses in the bottom of the window represent the roses that Greg gave to Chris every week. He would bring her roses. There's the cup and the bread representing communion.
The lion will lie down with the sheep, planets, the sun and the moon, stars, and the earth, the creation window. And one of the things that have worked into that window was a couple pieces of natural stone.
Then when he decided to make the window that's in the north axe, he asked if I would help.
Nancy had been into stained glass before on her own and had some pieces that she had done separately, so that I called on her to help me, especially on this project.
We talked about the animals that you see around this area. We knew we had to have the mountains in the background. and of course some pine trees, and we kind of came up with what animals we wanted. Paul drew it out with his artist talent. Leanne Starlin and Ginger Jump, the three of us, came and helped him design the window and did the cutting and made the window with Paul. It was great.
My name is Elsie Fisher, and I started coming to this church in about 1945. 3 children all grew up in this church too.
My name is Gil Fisher, and I've been in this church since I was born, which was 1951.
I'm Joan Saxberry, and I've been here all my life, which is over 60 years.
I was just visiting with him out there, and I was thinking what a blessing he was and how faithful he has been and kept up with us.
Obviously, I feel like the church will be lacking if it wasn't for Paul. Paul had a lot of different hobbies, stained glass being one of them, that helped make him a well-rounded person, that we just knew he wasn't just the pastor of the church, he was also had other interests and hobbies outside of that that actually made us feel more comfortable with him.
I think that by Paul making his contribution creatively and designing the windows, learning how to make the stained glass windows, and then teaching it to others for people to see that their talent can make a difference, it inspired me to be a better pianist because I had to match those windows. It inspired the painting on the wall behind you, that needed to just be another sign of the blessings of God that we have in our talents.
I know he always liked to say when people ask about the windows, well, the best time to see them is on Sunday morning. It's something that we never even dreamed of before we came here. And I guess my feeling is that it was God's leading us here. Paul is very creative. He comes up with these ideas, and it was a great thing to have happen, that he could see his artwork in these windows.
Very much so. I look around and see the glass here and realize that that's a part of me. My greatest satisfaction has been helping people. And that has been kind of the heart of my ministry, where I've been, is helping people to understand themselves and maybe to understand me. It's a growing relationship with the people of each congregation.
It's quite a legacy to leave. And our hope is that they will last a long, long time. I would hope that they would last till eternity, but who knows?